I feel Hi, and welcome to the Personal Side of Business podcast, where every business has a story. Today, we'd like to introduce Andy and Kara. They are the owners of Hawaiian restaurant Kalei's Kitchenette in Rancho Penasquitos, and it opened up in 2018 and is now thriving in their going on the second year. Welcome, both.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you for having us, Jet.
Hey, you're welcome. So tell us a little bit about your story of the journey from when you first opened up. Because you guys started as a catering business, correct?
Correct. We started 2018 as a catering / farmers market, all over San Diego. And then we did a lot of events as well, specialty events like PIFA and all of that. During 2018, 2019, we were looking for a brick and mortar. At that time, we were ready to pull the trigger. And then 2020, COVID happened. So we stepped back and reassessed that, you know what, we cannot do this because COVID is happening. So from there on, we started doing our due diligence of doing business planning, forecasting, and all of that. So that way, when we're ready to pull the trigger to get a brick and mortar, we're all set and we have the knowledge of the financial part of it, of the business.
And that was very adventurous because when we were talking, we're like, you know what? You don't really know if we're going to be here tomorrow. Now it's funny, but before you're just like really scared because restaurants were closing and then literally people were dying. And then we were talking, that's our dream to open a brick and mortar. And then it was like, when are we going to do it? You know what? Might as well start looking. But in the meantime, when we were looking, that's when we were trying to study it. We're planners. We try to plan A, B, and C. That if plan A doesn't work, there should always be a plan B and C already.
Pretty much like
waiting
the
already.
worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And you got to be ready for the worst of the worst.
No, with our background, I think that's what really helped us to know the possibilities. And with that 1 year of searching, by the way, you made it sound easy that we were searching for a brick and mortar. It was
hard because
we were driving a lot.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you, Jet. We would drive because we live up North County, so we would drive around, Mira Mesa, Miramar, Escondido,
Sorrento
Valley. And we'll just hit like all the spots that you would think of, like, okay, this is a nice location.
We're calling the lease.
Calling the leasing office or, the property or realtor.
But the challenges that we had there was, it's already taken. We're like, wait, it was a restaurant before. It just closed. What do you mean it was taken? It was places were or maybe they just didn't want to have another business that is in a restaurant because they knew, there's, I don't know, I don't have the statistics, but we know that a lot of restaurants closed during that period. So we were not able to find one. And part of it with Chef Andy's experience being in the food industry, he knows what he wanted. We also had friends during that time who started opening a food business right before COVID, and we saw the struggle of being ground up. So he said, we're not doing ground up. Well, let's be patient. Well, let's look for a existing kitchen. And for those people who doesn't know, there's a whole new world if you do a ground up for a restaurant.
Yeah, ground up meaning it's just an empty space. So a lot of the costs would go to permitting, grease trap, just the whole logistic of equipment wise and all of that. So me and Kara decided, you know what, let's just wait on a closing restaurant because that's an existing kitchen already. And permitting is really hard with health department and build up permitting for the county or the city. So we just waited, and in God's time, we found this place in Rancho Penasquitos.
Which is 2 blocks away from where we were residing. So it was really, I think when you put it out there, I know it might sound very juju or whatnot, but if you put it out there that you're really looking, and we believe in you're attracting it. you're definitely attracting it. We tell some of our closest friends that this is what we're going through. We're looking for places, and a friend of a friend connected us or alerted us that this place was opening, and it was a blessing because it was a perfect spot. The size was also our
Ideals.
ideal
Yeah.
layout. It was
Yeah.
close to the house, and
I
we're
think it
like,
was a
this is great.
perfect because it was like 2022, I believe,
22. Uh-huh.
of August, and it was the last week of August, and it landed that week of my birthday. So I was like, oh man, this is a blessing. It's kind of like a good birthday gift. So the owner of that restaurant that's closing or the bakery called me personally and said, hey, we're closing down the shop. You want to check it out? So that's when I stopped whatever I'm doing. I told God, I'm like, hey, let me go drive up there and check it out. And we started talking to the owner, the old owner of that the bakery, and from there we started doing the math, logistics and all of that. So
And I think that meeting also was very beautiful. When he met with the owners, it was not very transactional. It was not very business. The owners, husband and wife, they said that we wanted another family to take over this. And I thought, sometimes it's the first time I met this couple. We're like, maybe cliche. But then we were talking already as the weeks came. They will tell us, oh man, I mistakenly left the door open or whatever. There's like realtors or brokers coming in the restaurant, and they wanted to drop cash and get this place in cash. But we said that we already, gave our word, and we haven't given them any money at that time, but they kept their word because they kept their word of wanting another family to take over this spot. And no, Rancho Penasquito is not very popular, but it's really around Mira Mesa, Poway, Rancho Bernardo area, and there's a lot of residents there. So it's very homey, and I think that's what they're trying to hope for. And this owners, when we actually fast forward during the grand opening, they actually came also, which was really sweet, very supportive, kindest people ever.
That's great. And so I have a kind of a two-part question, right? Can you explain to listeners what you guys were looking for? Maybe like the top 3 things that were important to you when you were looking for that space. And then could you explain when you're doing stuff from the ground up, what does that end up costing? For new equipment, build out and all this stuff. That way listeners can get an idea if they're trying to open up a restaurant, what actually goes into that.
So for the first part of the question is as a chef, what I'm looking for, it has to have the grease trap. Grease trap meaning they have to do the plumbing and all of that. That costs a lot. If there's an existing grease trap, you don't need a permit for that from the city or from the health department, and also the hood system that's built in there.
Okay.
Because that costs a lot of money as well,
And
and time for the permitting. Because remember, during COVID, everything was hold on stop, meaning all the permitting, whoever was building out, was on hold.
So you were working in also not a regular environment to try to get a restaurant going as well. Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and it was a struggle too, because during that time, if you're building from ground up, meaning you're permitting, it's gonna take at least 6 months to a year.
Yeah, our friends, we saw it for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Before they actually...
It's just an empty retail space, and you're putting a grease trap, all the plumbing and all of that. The city was backed up all the way for like a year because of COVID. Everybody was like on hold. So imagine if we got a spot that's a retail spot. Man, that's like a year of hold, or 2 years, I would say, of not getting income, and you're just like waiting for, the GC. I'm like, hey, we cannot work on this because we're still waiting for the permitting to get approved before we even dug a hole and put a grease trap or piping underneath the building.
So it's definitely, it needs to be a pre-existing kitchen was the first thing. And then the second thing was the square footage. We've learned a lot from COVID, meaning we also understand there's a lot of, outdoor seating, maybe not even having a seating. And so when we were thinking about our concept, we were not into let's have more seating so that people can dine in here and make it as a gathering spot. That was not, quote unquote, the trend. Also looking into the business perspective, we also know, because in the meantime, like for starters for us, let's have our overhead a little bit manageable. So meaning let's not have a lot of seats because that would equivalent to the rent, also for the labor and supplies and utilities and everything else. So let's lessen the square footage so that our overhead would be also less. And overall, it would help us operationally. We can focus more on the customers. We can focus on the staff, making sure, because I think when we first started the business, it was just me and him. And we have a very good control from the beginning till the end of the customer experience. Now there are a team of other team members who's actually touching customers, where we want to make sure, hey, they need to extend the same aloha as what we have been giving our customers. And so there's that training. Now I need to go one-on-one with them. Hey, this is how you greet them. We don't do good morning and good afternoon here. We say aloha. We say
Like,
mahalo here. And so just even the twang of the new verbiage needs to be trained. And so, again, the second must thing that we were looking for is the square footage, not too big. We were being offered 3,000 square footage. It was a fine dining restaurant in Rancho Bernardo and some in Poway. We're like, this is too big. And we even played the idea of maybe we can do banquets. And we're like, this is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Again, bigger overhead, bigger capital, longer time for us to recover.
And then it really depends on what equipment and what you're needing for your operation. Roughly, equipment would cost like about 50K if you have a new flat top, grill, fryer, fridge, those kind of stuff, like merch fridge and all of that. That costs a lot. When we took over this spot, it's basically asset sales. So whatever they had in there, like fridge, sinks, and all of that, it's ours. So meaning it was just a quick buyout from us to them, basically. So
Would that be something you would advise, especially newer restaurant business owners, to maybe look into that, right? To help costs down, but also to like time wise to help everything.
yes, I would advise just looking into that, meaning existing kitchen, and also business planning. That really helps you a lot.
You
Learn a lot because you want to do a business planning. What type of operation you're doing. For us, it's just more like quick grab and go, and we don't want, like what Kara said, we don't want no people sitting down or anything. Your overhead is low, and also for that is it easier if we just do your hours of operation? What is it like? Are we breakfast, lunch, dinner type, or lunch, dinner, or what? That's another factor too. And also you want to have like a cushion money for unexpected
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Because when we did our business plan, I said we gotta give ourselves a buffer 3 to 4 months of rent,
Right, just the basics.
just the basic stuff. Because your first month that you opened up, you're not gonna make X amount of
Yeah.
money right away, or the second month. You're getting your name out there, and just your brand and all of that, the brand recognition. They want to see like, who are you guys, or
and that takes a while.
and that takes a while. It's like either paid advertising, marketing, organically or whatever. That takes time, but it helps us a lot with when we did our
business plan.
business planning, and also being relevant to the community. Doing other events and all of that.
Yeah, because you guys already had that edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you already were catering and then being involved in the community. For a small restaurant or business owner just starting out, and they're just like new concept, new everything. That's probably taking now 5 steps back, and you have to try to catch up with the whole ecosystem of a restaurant. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
But
It's-
going back to, if we advise to start off with, getting maybe use equipment, if that could save you some money, have look for a place that is already pre-existing kitchen. And the reason for that is, I think, to save, quote unquote, save money on those things is because you're putting priority on something else. Like for chef, there are some equipments that are non-negotiable, needs to be brand new. Not everything is secondhand. We have a couple of fridges there that needs to be brand new already. if we're not bakers, but for a baker, maybe they need to make sure that that's a brand new mixing mixer,
Mixer or
because that cannot crash down for us, like again the oven and all that stuff. So definitely look into that, because there are other priorities, not just you. When you save the money part, you got to be prepared that one of those equipments or one of those things are going to break down. But what would be the other compensation? Because I think what one of the things that we learned from business planning, which by the way, we worked with a business plan writer, took us 6 months. And our agreement, we said we don't want a business plan that's just going to be put in on the drawer, or it's the when we were borrowing for our capital, they didn't even ask it. We just showed it to them. It's like, by the way, here's our business plan if you need it. And they were like, oh, they were surprised. Like, no, we did this because we wanted to go through the exercise of asking each other why. By the way, I didn't even know why a business plan needs a menu. I thought you could just make some menu, but it made
it makes sense. And the
because
hours of operation, like
Yeah,
everything. I'm like, oh,
it's connected. And this is what I learned. When you create your menu, once you decide, just simply deciding the menu, it actually affects the operation and what equipment you're going to be using and what pricing and the everything. And I think knowing also or going through that exercise, you already picture, again, plan A, B, and C. If this doesn't work, what are your backups already?
and also besides the back of the house, I think it's mostly important to the front of the house, the facade of the front. When they walk in there, what is the feeling? Is it like a aloha spirit feeling, like, or they're from the island, or visiting Hawaii or whatever? You want that also, the front of the house to look beautiful. Also, not only equipment or back of the house, but
Okay,
also
this is a hotelier speaking right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
This is a true hotelier speaking because
like-
it's all about the experience, not just about the food, I guess.
yeah, the experience and just the look of the whole store.
Right.
Is it bright? Is it dark? Is it? Oh wait, the ceiling is too short, or is it open?
Because I've seen that too. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think I've become aware of it over the past couple of years. When you walk into a place, and you're like, "Oh, they didn't have enough money to stretch into these areas," and you feel food's great, but chairs are cheaper. The tables are rickety. There's not good paint on the walls. There's no decor to it, so it changes the mood of it. And I think in the long run, that is what subconsciously people don't realize. That's why
Yes.
they're coming back or not coming back.
Yeah.
Yes, it does hurt one way or the other, because we again, as I was joking about him being a hotelier, because it is true in the hotel industry. That's why Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons are in that caliber, because they take into account the five senses of a customer for a customer experience. When you see, what do you see? What you hear, and that's why kitchen. Turn your volume down, kitchen guys, and then also just the smell. Does it smell sewer?
Yeah.
Because, you're in the food industry, or does it smell too much, I don't know, detergent or Fabuloso somewhere, too strong? And then the sound, what kind of music are you trying to include into the whole experience? And if you take into that account, and again, that's what we went through during the whole business planning, and it doesn't have to be all you have to spend, but just creating that awareness, and again, the welcoming of from the team, from our staff, is a simple change in the experience. That again, we joke around with our customers. This is way cheaper than flying to Hawaii. We're saving you a Hawaiian
you a
Airlines
whole- yeah.
ticket here.
Yeah, and I think you start to see that we're like, and I don't know, this big presumption, but I think you can start to tell where there's experience in a restaurant that you go to, and then also the other step of like someone coming up with a business plan and go, we thought this out. Like there were so many details in this, and I've spoken to a lot of business owners who are like, yeah, so I make this great dish. My family tells me it's great. I should open up a restaurant. And then I'm like, let's start. Have you ever worked in a restaurant? And people will be like, no, I've never worked in it. I've never managed a restaurant. I've never even served in a restaurant. So I think a lot of people kind of lose sight of, well, I can make good food at home, but can I make it for 200 people a day.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. And work with other people in that environment and also deal with the stress of vendors, money, is everything
Yeah.
working, right? So
Yeah.
it's a lot of different things.
And as you said, there, and I wanted to mention this too. I know we were talking about heavily on the business plan. There's two different things. You can be book smart on business plan and you can keep on planning. But if you don't have the experience, which, me and Chef Andy have different backgrounds. We used to work in the hotel industry, but I never worked in a restaurant. I worked on the front of the house and other stuff. But he has all of the kitchen, the operational experience. And so I feel like, again, the combination of our experience, what putting our strength and weaknesses together, I think we haven't killed one another. So I think our marriage is still going strong.
There's always a mutual respect, like back of the house and front of the house
Yeah.
as well. So between me and her, we always talk about like, hey, we're gonna execute it this way. I'm like, okay. Or if she has an idea, with the special or whatever promo codes or anything that gimmick that we're doing in the restaurant, we'll talk about it and then we'll game plan and then execute it.
Oh, yeah. By the way, one thing that we also talk about on the side, although we did not put it in the business plan, who has the last shot? Who has the last call? And it's Chef.
Yeah.
It's not written for a reason, but we have that agreement, and everybody in the team knows Chef has the last call.
And also, when you're getting into this business, hiring the right people is always a must.
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
The right people.
The right people, because you can go on a route like, oh, I'm hiring a GC. Oh, he's $20,000 cheaper, but
Does he have experience?
experience, or that $20,000 cheaper. That's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Or you want to go to a caliber like, okay, you know what? They'll do the whole thing, and you got peace of mind because they're working on it, kind of deal. So
Yeah, they're experts already.
they're experts on
I know you
that.
touched on the hiring the right people, and this goes also to our team members. We totally believe we both believe that skills, those can be trained. We got SOPs, we got processes already. We have our HR company who helps us with those things. But attitude, that's something you can't train, man. And so I think that's why when we said like you have to really hire the right people, and we're learning. I feel like even the best recruiter has a bad hire.
Yeah.
So I feel like those are just charge you to experience.
Yeah, you're not
A
gonna
very
get like
expensive charge.
exactly in the first hire. You're not gonna get 100%. Like, oh yeah, this is the best team. We went through a lot, so
I mean, you know already.
you
though.
know.
You started with us, Jet.
So you
Yeah.
know the turnover and all of that. So
Yeah. And do you think that as you're hiring people and you're looking for qualities, is it qualities do you think that mesh well with you or are a good fit for the restaurant or a little bit of both?
I would say for the team and the restaurant,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were just
because
finalizing the promise.
like I always tell my staff, you guys don't work to please me. You work to please the customer because they're the one who's paying us,
Yeah.
paying your paycheck. So if the customers are really happy and they have great experience, you own it up to them because that's the way we operate. It's the customer. And it's not me. I'm here to guide them, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's the customer because they're the one who's coming in, buying the food, and and therefore the experience. So
And that goes for both front of the house and back of the house. It's funny that we were just talking about this because we just finalized our promise to our customers, and this is an internal mantra, or as I was teasing with the team, this is the Kool-Aid that you guys are going to be drinking, and it's a joke because they're already doing it. We just put it into words of basically delivering aloha to our customers because we want our customers to feel welcome and valued through our warm hospitality and thoughtful prepared food. So it's basically both front of the house needs to make sure that anybody, front and back of the house, because our space is very small. We want to make sure that in Hawaii, I don't know if for those who have traveled, right away you'll feel the difference. Everybody smiles.
Mhm.
It just seems to be relaxed. Everybody seems to be like a family.
it's
you
so
know?
chill.
Yeah, and their family.
And and this is what me and Kara always encourage our staff. We cannot tell you guys what is aloha spirit.
it's hard to
It's hard to
define that.
define it, but we practice it as an owner. So they see that. It's more like as a owner or a management team, if you have the good vibes and the aloha spirit, they'll rub into that.
Yeah, respect,
Kindness,
kindness.
yeah. They'll rub into that. Like cuz no matter how the customer complains and all of that, if you just, hear them out and you being kind to them, they'll just
They'll
like
understand.
they'll understand. They're like, okay, you know what, you just made a mistake. At least you just hear me out, kind of deal. So
Yeah, and I think throughout the year and a half that we've been operating the brick and mortar, we have a very good team, and we're very blessed and happy that our team that we have right now. And that's why when you said if we're bringing in a new team member, honestly, again, you can have the skill, but if your attitude does not fit in our team's puzzle and or our promise to our customer about bringing in aloha, if you're gonna come in here very cocky, bruh,
Yeah.
chef is gonna, the kind, I don't know,
that kind is gonna come out and you're gonna get
really
kicked out
easily.
easily.
I'm just kidding.
So it's more of and I always, as a leader, I always tell them like, you follow what your leader do. If a leader is always like cranky or always swearing or in a bad mood, they'll rub into that.
Yeah.
But if you're just like chill, very calm and collective, they'll be like, you know what, he's not panicking, so we shouldn't even panic.
It's like you're coming in yelling, but you're telling everyone to be aloha.
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
quite
It's
work.
an opposite side,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's so
yeah.
opposite. They're like, oh, you better smile, but you're not even doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
No, chef, I don't think seldom gets mad. He, yeah,
I'm very calm and collective.
very
so,
calm for
yeah.
a chef, even
Yeah.
though the kitchen gets very heated.
And coming from someone who grew up most of her life in the East Coast, especially New York City, visiting Hawaii, it was almost too nice. Like
Right?
it almost like I was like,
Feel
what's wrong?
uncomfortable?
Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable. You're like, I want some sort of resistance somewhere, right? But every time you go someplace, everyone's just like, yeah, come in, and it's nice, and everyone starts talking to you. And I, coming from someone that grew up where you didn't say hi to people, I didn't know that was a thing until like I moved out of the East Coast. I came to California, went to visit the Midwest. I'm like, people say hi to each other. They don't know each other. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
They're
Like,
smiling at you
yeah,
too.
yeah. You're like, you're trying to steal something from me.
Yeah.
That's always
There is a bad intention.
I'm looking around. There's two other people going to be jumping out of the corner. So
There's always a bad intention.
now, kind of speak to how you guys you talk about dealing with your team members and then customers. How do you guys approach each other in terms of the business? Like when it goes home, does it you go, okay, we're only gonna talk about so much, or it's free reign, we'll take it out and discuss it with each other? Is there certain rules that you guys came up with at the beginning with?
when we get home, we talk a little bit, but it's mostly focused on the family now
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the kids.
we try to
we try
shut
to
it down.
shut it down and we just focus on the family. Even
It's
though
hard though.
it's hard, but here and there we'll talk about it, but like no negative stuff because it's like, come on, like we already
Yeah,
left that.
This
back
is the
there.
kids' time. Our kids are very young. Kalei is 8.5. Kamea is turning 6. So, and this is the reason why we started this business, is because we wanted to make sure that we give time to them, and not just being there, but actually present. There are occasions where, and we're very flexible. Chef is mostly he works. He's very early in the kitchen. He tries to get out of there as soon as like the kitchen is set. Normally about 2:00 in
2
the
o'clock
afternoon.
in the afternoon, like
And then again, because the kids get off, I don't even know why public school is out at 2:00, man.
Yeah, I was
How
like-
do
it's like
working
3:30
parents?
when I was
Oh
younger. I
my
was like, what?
gosh! So by the
Yeah.
time that the kids are out, we're also trying to get ourselves ready for dinner and have quality time with. And when I say quality time, it's like extracurricular activities with them. So yeah, we try to shut it down. Monday became our Mondates. Like today, before we had lunch, so that's our quality time. But we also did a little bit of work.
Work
It's very
meeting, yeah.
hard to sit down with chef, just undivided attention and do paperwork and actually work on the business. It's very difficult because it's mainly on the operations side of things. And so we try to we respect our calendars. It's really crazy. all of the if you're not in my calendar, I'm sorry, honey, I'm not gonna have a meeting with you.
Yeah,
I am not picking up your call.
and I'm not really a big planner, but like I always writing things down. So I bought a planner like for the month, like okay, what are the upcoming events or all of that, and it keeps you aligned with whatever's going on in your life with personal and
Yep.
business.
Yeah.
I know you probably know Jed, but the other viewers or listeners here, we're closed Sunday, Monday. So Sunday is really our family time. Monday, I still operate because of, I serve for the other tech company Monday to Thursday out there in Sereno Valley. So Monday is really like one of those like, okay, I only got Sunday off. So Saturday when like everybody said like I'm leaving early
Mm-hmm.
and they already know that. So if there's no catering and all of that, so like having a calendar and dotting it out and making sure that everything is aligned is one of the things too that owner should do as well.
Yeah, so we're early risers. Chef is up and about at 5 a.m. Well, I try to keep up with him, so he's gonna be in the kitchen. I'll be on my computer already at 5 a.m. Working because again, we try to sandbag it. Well, for me specifically, I'm more in the computer, so I sandbag it in the morning, and same thing for him. And then get ready for kids, and then they again get out at like 2, 3 o'clock, and that's pretty much when they're in school. Then we focus on the kids already. They said that the kids grow really fast, and this is the time that they still want us. We try our very
Yeah.
best to volunteer in their school activities. We do quite a lot of fundraising for the schools also, and it's our way to almost just like connect with with the parents, their schoolmates, and all that stuff.
And also giving back to the community. Like that's one of the thing also. Every year we always have a goal that as a business owner. This year, it's more like a community reach out kind of deal, like giving back more fundraising for the school, or like sports team
Or just
fundraising or
events
whatever.
in general, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned earlier, we live close by, and then the kids go to school in the district where we basically work and live. We go to church in the area. Our radius is pretty small, so this is the part where it's why it's so easy whenever we say we give back to the community, because honestly, this is where we live. We want this little Rancho Peñasquitos community to thrive. I joke around that there's nothing that happens in PQ, so let's throw an event.
Or even like like with the we're planning with the SDPD of
Yeah, we got-
Northeastern
yeah, we
or
got
firemen,
something going on.
something we're working on something with them during holidays and all of that to just give back to the community as well. So
We give
it's-
value to, I
yeah.
think, the local, the officers, the servants, to the community servants. So I think we already recognize that there's a lot of kind people in general, but we also just feel like sometimes they're just waiting for that opportunity. And we saw that during the Maui wildfire, 3 months when we opened up the brick and mortar, Maui Lahaina got hit with a wildfire, and we're like, chef, what are we gonna do? We felt like we need to do something, so we opened our restaurant, the parking
As a
lot,
drop-
as
drop
a
off.
donation drive,
donation
and
drive. And
people
for those
came.
listener out there, my family's from Lahaina, so they got affected big time. So it was one of those that time of the fire. It's like so hectic and so nerve wracking for me because I couldn't get a hold of them. And then after that, I got a hold of them, finding out our place got burned down, our family home, and then it's like they needing help. So for us, business owner, a small mom and pop restaurant, I gotta do something. So we started connecting with different people, and we opened up our
Yeah,
shop
they
as
just
a
they just came, and that's when we realized they just wanted,
Wanted
to
to help.
help. Everybody just wanted to help, and some of them, they were even just like passing by, almost like they used the place as, I don't know, say a mourning site. Some, I visited there during my honeymoon.
Like a way to connect. It was a
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to
talk.
talk.
Yeah, and
I
then-
received letters with donations, like monetary. At that time, we were only doing non-monetary.
because I told them I don't want to deal
So,
with
but
money.
some will like just give letters and the money, and then they will tell the story. their story with Hawaii, in Maui specifically. And it just was amazing of, we said, you know what? It was very moving, and it was a lot of hard work and money, by the way, during that thing. We
Oh
just opened
my
the brick and
goodness.
mortar 3 months. We didn't even know, like, oh my God, we got to pack. We got to do this. We need packing tapes. We need boxes. Where are we going to get this? Where are we going to say, oh, we need a storage box? Where are we going to, we didn't even know that those things that we're going to need. But then people helped out. And we were so overwhelmed with the people that came that we're like, okay, even though I'm tired, it's okay. It was
Yeah.
well worth it.
It was one of those things. It was well worth it, and the help of the community.
Yeah.
It's really like heartwarming. A
Yeah.
lot of people showed up, and I was like, oh
and
wow.
even the people who
who helped also
to ship it there.
to ship it
We
there. Yeah?
we were just let's just say a location
Yeah.
for people to know that, okay, this is the hub spot. However, there were a lot of key people who helped 400 boxes to be brought to Maui. That's one. And volunteers flying to Lahaina to help distribute
Distribute
that.
the boxes.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Were
The-
you coordinating any
No,
of that stuff? Okay.
I had to get a help from our good friend Joanne Fields, because she did the, what is it, New Orleans during Katrina. So the logistic part, she
Also
helped us with
the Guam before that.
even the Guam too. So she knows the logistic part,
Mhm.
because I called her like, Joanne, I'm doing this, and she's like, what are you doing?
You just
You-
opened
you
the
just
store.
opened the
Yeah, yeah,
store.
Are you
And
crazy?
You're crazy. You're busy right now. Blah blah. Okay, let me go there. So she drove the next day and went over the logistics and how we're gonna execute it. And a lot of the people from the islands, different islands that lives here now, helped during that
Yeah,
packing and
it
all
was
of that.
beautiful, and that's why I was like, man, there's a lot of kind people
Yeah.
out here. It was overwhelmingly amazing, and so I feel like, again, restaurant business, this is brutal, but there are things that makes you
Yeah.
go and go, and like when people ask, why do you? And okay, my late mom has a running joke. She told me, and she's in the food industry before when she was alive. She said, if you hate someone, if you really, really passionately hate somebody, push them to open a restaurant, you get your revenge right away. And I was just like, it's actually true. Why? But we know the profit margin is low,
Yeah.
the hard work. Basically, for the amount of work you put in, you only get X amount of dollars in return. But this is what we know. This is our passion, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very natural for us. The hospitality is something. We're Filipinos. I grew up in the Philippines. You grew up in Maui. It's everybody is family. You are hungry, come. You don't even have to call me that you're coming. You just come. We'll have food. You make your own food in our kitchen. That's how we are
Yeah, like,
growing up
back home they'll just go inside our house. I'm like,
and eat.
all my friends, I'm like, hey, like I'm coming in. I'm like, okay, whatever. So they'll just knock on the door, And when you enter the house, you better leave your slippers or shoes outside the
And
door.
get in
Um,
trouble there.
Yeah. So besides that, Jet, also as a business owner, it's tough. Also, like what Kara said, like in the food industry or just in the restaurant, you gotta, as a business owner for a restaurant, you gotta find ways to get different source of income besides the walk-in. Besides
That's the biggest one.
that's the biggest one, because a lot of these restaurants, they're just waiting for the walk-in people.
Yeah.
No, you gotta go out there and go for marketing of. We do party trays, we do catering. Get those, like all those or whatever Uber Eats, whatever it is, like knocking on those corporate offices that doesn't even have cafeteria, and they'll partner up with somebody that, oh sure, we're a company that does delivery for your office building, so we'll partner up with this restaurant. Those are the kind of
Look for
things
those
that- opportunities, because waiting for people to walk in that door, you can be waiting for an hour and there's nobody walking in there. You're already losing sales
Because I think people think that way, right? Like they think
Yeah.
you open
It's
up a
really
restaurant
sad.
and then people just
People
flock in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen, and that's what we've seen when we were doing farmers market. Again, my background is in marketing. After the hotel, when I left the hotel, I dabbled into digital marketing for what, good 7-8 years, maybe 9. I lost count already. And I always tell him, my gosh, we got a lot of friends who have good product, but they're not doing the second part of it. So just as a background, when before we opened the brick and mortar, for 5 years we're doing catering and all that stuff. We never have a brick and mortar, but we were profitable because and I always joke around with Chef. I said, "Man, I make you look good, in the internet. I make you look good. It's as if you have a brick and mortar. Your website is amazing. Social media is there. All of the stuff that is necessary for the customer who's making a purchase during the digital age. So if you have a good product, you also need to tell the world that you have it, but you got to stay consistent. I think business owners forget that you have to stay consistent and relevant, basically fresh. So if you are putting time and money into, let's say, the product, you also have to do the same for marketing, because, and that's why they said, when a lot of free resources are out there. I don't have the exact number, but what is it? 3 to 5% of your sales needs to be, you need to allocate for marketing also, because sales is not going to go up if you don't put marketing dollars. And that's just true. I know we're below our marketing dollars, but I wish we could just put more and more. But because business owners think marketing is just social media. Oh, I have to be on social media. You know what? If those are the things that you don't like, that's the part where you need to outsource already. Because that's equally important for you to get business. You outsource or delegate some things that you don't enjoy doing. Focus on the tasks and the job or that you love to do, where your creativity or where your passionate is, because you'll get burnt out if you try everything else. And it's gonna suck financially, and that's why you just have to thrive and focus on what you're good at. And I think that's when it's gonna come.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of different small business owners that go in, especially into restaurants, right? I've noticed that they come in with very limited budgets, right? We're just like, okay, we need to turn the lights on and get everything going so we can have money coming in. But what would your advice be to someone that's like, hey, we're literally living hour for hour to try to make the money come in? What's a strategy you think they can do to try to market?
Our favorite word is cash flow.
Yeah.
Always check your cash flow.
Check your cash flow.
That's I'm not an accountant. We have a bookkeeper. That's really not my forte. But when bookkeepers report your profit and loss and balance sheet, there's not really a line item there for cash flow. They just balance the book. But you need to know your cash flow and how much. Cash flow is not credit card debt. That's not how it should be.
Cash flow is your extra money that you should be, in case of emergency, you have that extra fund.
It's different from savings, in
savings,
layman's term. I think we're doing a very poor job in describing what a cash flow is. However, so it's basically like your buffer.
Your buffer for your expenses, extra buffer. So you have your monthly expenses that you already know, your rent, your electric, your labor, your food costs, or whatever, or whatsoever, right? But an extra cash flow would be like, oh, dude, our fridge went down. So now it's like you're not tapping into those operational expense. So if you have that extra cash flow, or for instance, like, oh, I have catering, but they haven't paid yet.
Yeah, I think that's the best example there.
Or we have a catering that's coming up this coming weekend, but I still need to buy the supplies because they haven't paid yet. Yeah. So now you're buying the supplies for that catering, but you haven't got the money yet, but you have that cash flow. So now, like, once they pay you, you put it back in the cash flow in that bucket, and then you're kind of like, okay.
Think of it as your credit line, but in cash form. Yeah. So once you know what is your sweet spot, you will not be tied up that when payroll is due, when rent is due, you're not stressed out. And so I think that's knowing your numbers. Follow numbers don't lie. Our bookkeeper today, we just had our meeting with our bookkeeper today. She just again followed the numbers and told us the harsh truth. It was really rough. Inflation is getting us.
Yeah, like the food costs we have for a month.
It's pretty brutal.
It's pretty brutal. It's
but
been like
numbers.
25%.
Wow.
which is a good food cost. But January it was like 30%. So I look back at receipts, like what went up. Everything went up.
Everything.
35 dozen of whole eggs was 35 bucks. Now they're selling for $135. So imagine that, right? It went up by quadruple, whatever.
And you can't quadruple the prices to the customer.
No,
right?
because you kind of like, okay.
And that's the business decisions. I think every business owner take it differently. And I think that's why when you see reviews or feedback from different people of like, oh my gosh, it's expensive. And this is more of a blanket statement. Oh, this place is expensive, but there's value because they pack the plate so much. So it's not really expensive. And the word expensive is very subjective to the perception of an individual. But then going back to the point of like, yeah, are you going to increase the price? You might turn down customers. Or some business owners, especially, I think, when was it? Last year when there was a huge inflation where a lot of business owners cut back on the portion. We know we go to our favorite restaurants where
when
they cut back.
You cut back on the portion with the same price or a little bit higher, people would notice that. You would notice that. And like really serving me a soup in a big bowl, now it's like a medium bowl. It's same price.
But again, you know what? I feel like, and this is the harsh part sometimes, but again, I think we've been toughened up already, but consumers need to understand Starbucks, McDonald's, and all of those fast food chains, they have dynamic pricing, meaning they follow the numbers. When I go to McDonald's because of my kids' Happy Meal, and so I noticed when they were increasing from like $4 to $6.
Yeah, oh my goodness. It was like...
So they are responding
responding
to inflations. How come they don't get that much of a wrath versus a small business owner where, damn, why are you guys lessening your portion of your meat or your noodles or whatever it is? Or, my goodness, they're so expensive. But if you look into a big picture, why is it double standard? Yeah. Why are you treating Starbucks differently where they have increased a venti already for X amount of dollars, or when they changed their model also of not having seating, because again, seating is overhead and all the other stuff. So, but again, we figure it out. I guess A/B testing. Let's see what's gonna work, which one's gonna stick.
Yeah.
And we're always just trying to give value, and that's why, again, going back to the experience, we make it a good experience, at the very least.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And one of the to get to back to your point, like I feel like one of my theories is consumers feel like they can pull a little bit more from small businesses because there's a sort of a community connection, right? You're like, oh, this is someone who lives here. They should help me out, right? Yeah. But then you go to McDonald's or something like that, and I'm sorry, we're not trying to, crap on McDonald's right now. It's just, this is an example. But I feel like it starts to become like, oh, they're a corporation and they have so much more money. But at the end of the day, restaurants, food and beverage comes from the same thing, right? We're trying to just make enough to keep going, and it's a small profit margin for a lot of different restaurants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then again, I think we joke around. Once we get over COVID, I feel like we can go. I just hope there's no other pandemic again happening in our lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if how I'm going to handle that anymore, but I think
I feel like, we surpassed COVID, we survived COVID. So whatever it's coming our way,
it's a badge of honor for restaurant people.
It's the people, in the restaurant industry, those people who never shut down and they're still fighting. I give them so much props because they found a way to pivot their business no matter what. And, they're tapping into more like catering now, where they're not a catering or party tray kind of restaurant. Now they're tapping into that because they know that, like, okay, you know what, those are the ones that we need to hit, and the pivot moment of their business.
And I know we're talking about a lot of catering, and yes, we are a restaurant business here. When we look into the numbers, catering is our favorite business because the profit margin is higher. Also,
it's a guarantee
on the
money.
financial part. We're not waiting for people to walk in. Basically, yeah, it's guaranteed already. It's paid for. The only thing that we need to make sure is we deliver the promise and we wow them. Which, again, if you look into our Yelp, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It's still on the 5 for our catering profile. It's been great because, again, the upside of being a mom and pop is that me and Chef are still very hands on. Like my favorite thing whenever we have weddings, Chef is there. He's there plating for the bride and the groom for their plate. Because what we were once, we had our wedding too, and we always joke around that how come some of the bride and the groom that we see on social media, they love saying like, "Oh my gosh, I did not eat my own food. I'm gonna go to the fast food In and Out or whatever." I was like, "Wait, you planned and paid for that?" And so for us, for our any weddings, like that's
We always played up their food because they don't have time to eat.
and he because again, this is that part where the experience, I always tell our customers, for our catering customers, this is a hotel grade experience and quality that you're getting in a mom and pop shop, which is 100% true. Chef Andy used to be an executive chef for Hyatt Regency in Santa Clara, ran hundreds of luau in Maui and Kauai, in convention center, beside convention center here in downtown San Diego. I mean, dude, I didn't realize up until I started dating him that banquet chefs are different than restaurant chef. I didn't know that. I was like, oh my goodness, how many chickens are those? It's like, and they're cooked the same. That's the thing. And they taste the same. It's amazing.
It's the consistency part.
Yeah.
So
that the chicken are, first of all, they're cooked through and through.
and they're moist. They're not dry.
Yeah.
And it's just it's amazing. So they're built differently. But going back to those bride and groom, I know because I'm not there, he makes it a point that he works with the wedding coordinator and the photographer of sometimes like, wait, block everyone off. No guests, no family are coming to the bride and groom. Let them inhale the food. Give them 5-10 minutes just to eat.
Because one of those factor is like what Kara said, like, those bride and groom doesn't get to eat. Or when they're sitting at the sweetheart table, everybody's like, okay, let's take a picture. So they're
busy already.
They're busy already. So it's more like, okay, let's plate their food while they're taking picture. They can nibble on something, and then okay, let's take a picture and still nibble after the picture taken with the group. So
it is tiring, man.
it is tiring,
for the bride and the groom.
Yeah,
when they
and I make it a
entertain.
point when I'm doing catering, I'm there from the beginning till the end, and when we're cleaning up, we want to make sure we thank the host or the guest, the event planner, that's saying, hey, we're leaving. By the way, X, Y, and Z is already taken care of. Here you go. So I want to make that impression that still doing the customer service for catering as well.
And we've seen this. We've have a lot of repeat catering clients where after the wedding, I'm not even kidding you, we have the first birthday of their kids.
Yeah.
Great.
And then sometimes for graduation, it's like all 3 kids graduating. We threw the catering party. So we're like, okay, it's graduation season already. Here we go.
So if you guys can capture a family that has 8 kids, that would probably be ideal.
Yeah, that would be ideal every year.
as long as they go to college and graduate.
Every year, birthday and then graduation every year.
It too. Yeah, I mean, I think part of, this is the sort of quiet factor that I think a lot of people don't know or don't think about in businesses, right? That you guys being involved in the community, and then also starting out with, you're saying, with sort of like farmers markets, right? It gets the brand out there, but it also gets the comfortability of being able to get to know the owner. Like, I want to support this business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everyone has that opportunity, right? Some people will move to San Diego. I'm going to open a restaurant. They don't know anyone, and then that's a gig, right? It is what it is. But I think there's so many things that I look at your business that came out that you did it in a methodical way, and I feel like the stuff that came to fruition was because of those things, right?
Yeah,
like
100%
business plans, right? Like just that it. I think you guys took how long? You said
6 months.
6 months to do business plan. I've seen people try to do it in like afternoon, right? I'm like, there's no way you've thought through all of these different things, right?
Yeah, and when we work with a business planner, business plan writer, we would put stuff and then he will challenge us. And we're like, oh yeah, huh? And because he makes business plan, he assists on creating those business plan. I mean, nowadays we have so much information and resources available, but yeah, you can prolong the planning out or writing it out. However, how true is it? Like, because sometimes there's the part of it does take time because you go to the restaurant. Oh, I haven't thought about that part. I think we have to have like a promotional sign there on the wall, and
Or
we did not put
something. Yeah,
that
we
on the
didn't put
business
that.
plan,
Yeah, and
and
you're
that
like,
takes time. And so I think you have to be patient with yourself. But there's also the analysis paralysis. So you got to be careful on that one too, that you're taking too much time planning and planning, planning, and you're not executing already. And when you mentioned earlier about the farmer's market, one of the things that we've learned there is also, yes, he has the credentials of being an executive chef, but I'm going to tell you, in a hotel setting, you have a sous chef, you have a stewarding who's handling all of that. No, chef did it all. And food safety is one of his priority, our priority. And so when we were doing farmers market, he needs to make sure that there's everything that he takes into heart, not only when he gets visits from the health department, but also again the safety of the customers. And so he was able to build confidence on his own product and the operation. So that takes time too. So earlier when you mentioned when maybe some people who never been to San Diego landed in San Diego, I want to do everything already. Even though you have the resources, money and time and maybe the network, sometimes it's still a different experience when you actually work in the industry, whatever factor or like whatever side it may be, you would just have to work. We're joking around like, oh, when Kalei and Kamea turns, able to work in an illegal age already, they definitely need to work and just be humbled down. They need to see what's happening. Yeah. They need to, scrub the floor.
And actually, you know what? Working at the farmer's market really, brings me back in the days where it's very humbling. Like those farmers market people, they really work hard. You're breaking down, you're setting up, rain or shine,
oh my gosh,
windy, and all of that. And like you're there waiting. If it's like raining, you're like you're not gonna have customer.
It'll play tricks on your mind and in your heart.
And
too.
And you're like thinking like, oh my God, can I do this?
What
and
did I do?
And it takes time. Exactly, and it takes time, and once you establish that you got thicker skin and you can do that, like going through this business now, business planning and all of that, it will be so much easier. And by the way, when you're going into getting a brick and mortar and all of that, look at the true cost of how to build out, because you cannot just shoot numbers there. I'm gonna borrow 300,000 or 200,000. Really, how much is your equipment? How much is your GC permitting and all of that? Because you want to be exact, kind of like close to that number. At the same time, you don't want to overshoot it, that you're in big debt and you don't know what you're getting into.
And I know we're talking about money and just brings me back memory lane about those times. It was so hard, the farmer's market. It was depressing. Kalei was very young that time. I'm like, are we doing this? Fair warning for those couples or people who have day jobs and all that stuff. Stick to at least one
person
to have the day job. You have to have that stream of income to becoming. Don't think that
don't bank on the farmers market
or just your startup company.
Yeah.
If you're building the company, don't think that I made my business plan, I did my research, this is how much it costs, everything. I have 6 months of savings already. I'm set. Okay, go quit your job. Heck no. Don't do it. Don't do it. It took 5 years running this business before we were both fully into the business already. And I still joke around. I'm like, man, I miss that paycheck. But then again, the freedom, the flexibility, the decision making,
the time. The time. Nobody can buy that time.
That time.
Yeah.
Our mandates.
Yeah.
Is there.
And also, like when we open our brick and mortar, like another one too. I mean, it's off the subject, but giving back to the community. It's more like, I'm bringing in those vendors that's are in the farmers market. They're from Hawaii, like our Cup of Coffee or Mochi and all of those manju, those vendors that we sell desserts and coffee in our store, they're from Hawaii too, and they do farmers market. So it's kind of like we are their extension to their customers because they don't have a brick and mortar.
And we
They're not.
understand what they went through,
They went
or
through,
what they're
so
going through right now,
yeah.
because they're still participating in those pop-up events, and it's just amazing where sometimes when their customers, they see their items, they're like, oh, I know this. I'm like, oh,
I
great.
know them, and it's
Like-
kind of like, our help to them also because we've been there, we've been in the farmers market field, and it's just very
And their products are amazing.
yeah,
It's
yeah, very amazing.
too amazing that sometimes we're like, I hope when during closing, when it's about to expire, like I hope nobody buys it so we can eat it. Food costs.
Now, what would be what is something that you felt like you learned from the farmers market that carried into the brick and mortar?
Ooh, that's a heavy question.
Oh, that's a heavy one. I would say the work ethic still,
Oh my gosh, yes.
because if your work ethic is really good at the farmers market, you should transfer that work ethic and attitude and behavior to the brick and mortar. You cannot just say, "Oh no, now I have like 5 guys working under me. I can leave them alone." No, it has to be your work ethic still there. People, your staff still look up to you and say, "Okay, you know what, Chef and Kara wanted it this way. This is how we're gonna operate it." Your presence in front of them.
Yeah.
You don't need to be there the whole day, but being there, like just saying, "Hey, hello," doing pre-chef with them, and like, "Hey, this is what's happening this week," and then giving them values also, making them, that they're also needed there is one of those things.
And I think one of the, well, for me, my take on the learnings from the farmers market to where we are right now is following the numbers. We talked about how hard it was doing farmers market. It was really hard that we had to make a decision to stop it and figure out different focus. So it took about, give or take, 6 months for us to. We were in Imperial Beach, Otay Ranch, Rancho Bernardo.
Downtown.
We were all over. We were running
I
6
did
or
OB
8
also. Yeah, OB
eight
like
farmers
every day.
market in a week. Chef was running that. We were for 6 weeks. And so when we saw the numbers, we were pretty much digging ourselves financially. We were like, hang on, we gotta take a pause. Let's recalibrate. Let's double down on our focus, which is catering. So we doubled down on our strategies for catering. What does it look like? We make sure that we have our catering menu up to the T, pricing, services, how we communicate ourselves digitally, that we have catering services. And we invested into softwares that assisted us to make sure that, we got the database for our catering clients or leads, and that we present ourselves, because we don't have a brick and mortar. So anything digital that goes out, even from the proposal, how the logo is placed, the emails that we send out. And so we doubled down on catering. And I think since then, we want to make sure that we just follow the numbers. If the trend is saying something, look into it. There might be something that we need to adjust already and respond to whatever problem we're seeing there.
And with catering too, your seasons that during catering, like summertime is always a big heavy on wedding and graduation and retirement party, because we live in San Diego, so it's a lot of the Navy people that's retiring, that too. And then I don't want to talk about this, but also like funerals. Those are big things too. Like a lot of people, with the celebration of life and all of that. I didn't know that, like those are good for catering as well.
Yeah,
It
because
may
it's a bigger.
sound bad, but it's
No, I mean it's a part of the food and beverage ecosystem, right? That
Exactly.
You got to feed people at those events.
And we personally experienced that. When my mom passed away, I also helped together with her siblings plan out the actual, the service. In Filipino culture, most of other Asian cultures, they have the viewing, if time and money permits, depending on the family, right? And so they're feeding during
every night
the
during
viewing,
the viewing.
and then the final hurrah
Oh,
the
when they get
banquet.
buried, they get after the burial. Then when you come back to the hall or the
Yeah.
church, or
I
whatever.
think because culturally, a lot of people
Yeah.
are already familiar with the food. So normally, again, Filipinos love to eat no matter what
They
occasion
love to
it
party
is.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
yeah, birth or death, whatever
If
it
it's
might
like
be.
for 50 people, they'll serve 150 people
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. So
That's awesome. Well, to start to wrap up, if you were to give advice to people that are getting into business and then into food and beverage, what would you tell them? Pros and cons, like one pro, one
run. I was kidding. I was kidding.
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding.
Every time someone's like, "What open restaurant?" I was like, "Don't do it." Don't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. Don't do it. Sober up fast. Then.
Yeah, right. For me, the word of advice is more like your business plan. Get to know your numbers. What are your numbers when you start a business? Because that will play a big factor of your debt. Like how much are you debt to ratio? Like okay, we're gonna go into debt when we enter this restaurant era, and also work ethic. For me, it's I always listen. We're listening podcast with the NPR, and it's like, what is it, luck or
Hard work.
hard work? I said both.
A lot of
a
hard
lot
work.
of hard work, but the luck comes after.
Yeah,
So,
1% is the luck.
And don't be, if it's not the right time, don't be pushing it to just open a brick and mortar. It's more like wait for the right time, because it's hard when unless you have so much money that you don't know what to do with it. Then yeah, invest it right away. But
Yeah.
that's my my take, my advice. Know your numbers. Business plan, because you would know how much money you would need, how much what is your hours of operation, and all of that SOPs that would help you a long ways on opening a brick and mortar.
I think where I'm gonna come here is the before. Before they're even thinking, "Ooh, this is a nice idea. Maybe I can make this as a business." Okay, when you're starting to have that idea already, just make sure that you still have your job. Keep your job. Keep it, and then work around it. Oh, I believe it's somewhere in Google where there is a formula of how much you should be making before you quit your job. There is a formula for that. And then when you're thinking about entering business, do your personal audit. What is your unfair advantage? And when I say unfair advantage, what are you good at? Are you good in, I'm just putting some words here. Are you good in sales? Are you good in marketing? Are you good in cooking? Are you good in, I don't know, repairing? You're maybe a handyman. What are you good at? And once you identify that, because you're good at that area, that means you're passionate about that area. Because once you have the passion, that's going to be hard to die. Now, no matter what obstacle you're going to go through, you'll stick to it. So once you have identified your unfair advantage as an individual, now check your network. Who are so say, for example, let's just say I like to cook and I'm good at cooking. Who are in my network where I can probably work in that industry? And let's just say I don't know Chef Andy, but maybe I can work for Chef Andy's restaurant. So I'll start working there, because now what's happening is you're maybe helping him in one form or way, but you're gaining the experience. No other books, no Google search, no Chat GPT can help you. It'll just be opening up. Now you know what are the do's and don'ts. And then you literally have instant access to years of experience that this individual have. When he said no, like, Chef, why are you not doing garlic shrimp every day, Chef? And then Chef is just gonna be like, well, because X, Y, and Z. Do you want to serve this old, I don't know, super old shrimp and the quality is gonna suck, or
do
you
you
want to
want-
make it just a
yeah.
special where da 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 da, and
Yeah.
you'll be like, wait, I did not see that from Google.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's experience right there. So now you know what you're good at. You went into your network. Nowadays, and that's why I feel like it's hard for Gen Zs or I don't know what era, what the the millennials are
Yeah.
now, because everything was on their phone. That I feel like, where is your network? You have to go out there, connect to people, and get out of leave your phone behind,
Experience, yeah.
and go out, connect to individual,
Mm-hmm.
have conversation, tell them what you're interested in. Be ready to be laughed at. Your idea is not going to work. Get ready for that. Or maybe work in silence. Just tell your closest friends, but again, get ready to be doubted. And that's okay. And then once you gain those experiences, maybe again, just don't quit your job because that's what's paying the bill. Then maybe once you find, the confidence, the knowledge, and the experience that you have, then start your business. And then that's when you go business plan and all that other stuff, the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
great.
yeah, I don't think you can just enter. Oh, and boba is a great business.
Right.
I love boba, but I didn't know how complicated those boba
Yeah.
pearls go down the drain, and
Yeah.
it's another headache.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, guys. So, how can the community and everyone in San Diego and even across the country, if you happen to be stopping or visiting San Diego, how can they support you?
Okay, well, you can look for us on Google. So KaleisKitchenette.com. That's Kaleiskitchenette.com. Ooh, that was a mouthful. Just look for us on Instagram. We're on Instagram, Google, Yelp, Facebook. TikTok,
Also-
we're still hanging there.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Also, our location is at 9926 Carmel Mountain Road, Suite F, San Diego, California 92129. So we're up there in Rancho
Freeway. Freeway
Penasquito, off of
56.
the 56 freeway.
And 15. Yeah.
15.
So a lot of people doesn't know Rancho Penasquitos, but we're tucked there by Mira Mesa, Poway, Rancho Bernardo. We're in northern San Diego.
North County, San Diego, yeah.
And if anybody's hungry for Hawaiian food, again, grab a plate. We're open
Mhm.
Tuesday till Saturday, 11 a.m.
to 7
to
p.m.
7 p.m. Pre-order online. Sometimes we got limited parking depending if there's sports across
Yeah.
the sports bar.
Right? And also follow us on Instagram for more, specials and what's going on in our community or with Kalei's Kitchenette as well.
Yeah, we got newsletters going on also. Once they go to the website, they can. I personally send the once a week newsletter, and so that's our way to let them know. And we respect their inbox, so try to just send once or twice a week the most
All right.
newsletter. Yeah,
That's amazing. And yes, I have tasted their food personally. It is amazing. So please support them. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Andy and Kara.
Thank
Mahalo.
you, Jet. Mahalo.
Thank you. The Jack Daniels and Coke started working.
I think Jet, Jet, this is a good one though. The studio. Yeah. How many more?